We have new details tonight about the U of M grad student detained by ICE, leading to protests on campus. A Homeland Security official says the student is in custody because of a past drunk driving conviction. But a new lawsuit claims ICE illegally detained him. Lou Raguse joins us with more on these new developments. Lou?
Julie, the student's name is Doğukan Günaydın, who is a citizen of Turkey. He was in Minnesota on an F1 non-immigrant visa, which allows foreign students to study in the United States. His attorney argues that his student status was unlawfully terminated and that he's now being detained unconstitutionally.
When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do?
Protesters at the U of M are demanding the release of Doğukan Günaydın, a Turkish graduate student studying at the Carlson School of Management at the U of M, after he was arrested and detained by immigration officials last week. According to a lawsuit filed by his attorney, Günaydın was handcuffed by plainclothes officers and put in an unmarked vehicle as he left his apartment for class, leading him to fear he was being kidnapped. The lawsuit acknowledges Günaydın had a DWI conviction in Minnesota last year, but his lawyer argues he has committed no crime that is cause for termination of his student status or that renders him deportable under immigration law. That contradicts the petition to plead guilty Günaydın signed in Hennepin County Court that states, "I understand that if I am not a citizen of the United States, my plea of guilty may result in deportation." In the gross misdemeanor drunk driving case, court papers say Günaydın initially didn't stop for officers, was arrested at gunpoint, and had a blood alcohol content more than twice the legal limit. In the immigration case, Günaydın is being held at the Sherburne County Jail. His attorney points out in the lawsuit that he's been told he'll see an immigration judge on April 8th, but that the case does not appear on the Justice Department's website. Günaydın was set to earn his MBA from the Carlson School in 2026, but unless his student visa is restored, he would not be allowed to return to school. Local immigration attorneys today were hesitant to comment on this case, but told me it's not unheard of to revoke a student visa for a DWI conviction. In the lawsuit, his attorney is asking a U.S. District Court judge to take jurisdiction of this case. That hasn't happened yet, and no hearing is scheduled. Now, as far as the immigration hearing on April 8th, as far as we know, that is pending, Julie.
So it does seem like there's a lot of secrecy around this, and you're saying you can't find the case file. Why do you think that is?
Well, I asked that question, and I was told that it could be because of a backlog, because there are so many of these cases in, and there's a backlog on the Homeland Security side of things. But again, that's something that his attorney is pointing out is inconsistent, and they're unable to get answers to some simple questions that they have.
And you mentioned that he did sign that paper saying that he could be deported, but that was how long ago that he was convicted?
That was in spring of last year. In March of 2024 is when he pleaded guilty, and he was sentenced, and he has served his sentence for the DWI. But on that petition, when they plead guilty, they sign it, and it acknowledges that if he's not a U.S. citizen, it could result in deportation.
And normally that would be followed by them revoking his student visa at the time. Would that be your understanding? But
some immigration attorneys told me today that yes, that is how it's supposed to work. But one thing that's odd about this case is his student status was not revoked until after he was already sitting in jail at the Sherburne County Detention Center.
All right. Thanks for the updates, Lou.